This is UniversalDesign. UniversalDesign, where our design is tailored around the needs of all individuals. Today's episode is at Dominican College, which is located in Orangeburg, New York. Mrs. Yu, a student at Dominican College, contacted us and wanted to see how accessible the campus was for her needs and the needs of all other individuals. Let's hear her story.
Hi, I'm Mrs. Yu. I am a prospective student here at Dominican College. I was diagnosed with MS a few years ago. It's the relapsing remitting type, where my symptoms come and go. And currently, some of the symptoms that I'm experiencing are weakness in my lower extremities. So I get really tired, I get fatigued, it's hard for me to walk long distances, I need frequent breaks. Right now, I'm working assistant teacher, and I find that my condition is interfering with my job. I'm also a mother of 2 young children, and recently I just found that it's hard for me to keep up with them too.
Since Mrs. Yu will be taking a majority of her classes at Casey Hall, we decided to take a walkthrough with the Director of Special Services, Margaret Giuliano, and see what accommodations they have already made for the needs of their students.
But it is an old building, but it does meet the general requirements of universal design in almost every way. You know, there's a few tweaks that we can do here and there, and they are coming into play slowly.
Now let's take a closer look with our team of experts on site at Casey Hall.
Welcome. I'm Ramona.
I'm Alvin, and we're here today at Dominican College, Casey Hall.
We're going to walk and take a look inside. Our OT and occupational therapy and our UniversalDesign expert.
Let's go take a look.
So looking at it from an occupational therapy standpoint, you know, you have the steps here, which are a little steep, but you do have the 2 side paths, you know, that, and as you see someone with lost strand crutches whose balance was pretty good. You know, she had some issues with opening it, but, you know, really it's tough to open the doors. The handles of the doors are good to just slide your hand in. You don't need a real good precision grasp to do it. You can just kind of slide in. But someone who maybe with more balance issues or has an acute physical injury, such as, you know, using crutches for a broken leg or a broken foot, would definitely have more balance issues than you know, open. And obviously someone in a wheelchair definitely.
So what I really like about the front entrance is that it is aesthetically pleasing. It's got the brick front, and they have the railings that are a really pretty red that really complement it, but then they also matched it to the door, which is also red. So aesthetically, it's a very nice design. There's 2 ramps that are adjacent to the stairs. That provides different methods of use for different users' abilities, so there's flexibility in use. One of the other things that I really like about the design is there's a little waiting area here when you're waiting for the bus. It has lots of seats, and it has, you know, protection from the elements. It's raining or snowing, so you're not just pillars here. And there's a really nice sign that's really simple and intuitive. It's a dark black, and it's got Dominican College and Casey Hall white letters, so it kind of really lets you know, okay, now I'm the main entrance, this is where you go. So it really maximizes legibility. What would be great is if this was an automatic sensor door where you walked up, it was simple and intuitive, it just opened, it was equitable in use, everyone could use it, and there wouldn't be any extra physical effort on the part of the student or the staff member to gain access inside.
With crutches, they're pretty, you know, she's able to maneuver pretty easily, but also for wheelchairs, it'll be more difficult. The spacing in here and the turning radius and whatnot is not the best, and there's not, you know, the best amount of space. And then as...
You know, there are desks that are adjustable so that someone who is in a wheelchair can just come in and use the same desk as everyone else. And they're adjustable with a crank, a little turn crank. They're pretty easy to use, and they sit two, they sit one. So that might be something to consider, and not just one. You would want all the desks to be that way so that it was equal for everyone. You want it to be equitable in its use. You don't want it to be stigmatizing. If you just had one desk for the person with the wheelchair. The other things that I see when I walk in here, and that I actually really like, is I see a smartboard. Love the smartboard that really facilitates students' learning styles. Students have different needs. That's great. What I don't really like, and what is not really universally designed, is that the seats are all facing sideways. So there's a projector screen, and really there's no need to have both. They do the same thing. So perhaps maybe the smartboard can go into the main spot, and that would really help in a lot of ways. One, the students don't have to turn their desks. Two, there's no glare from the windows, because really the smartboard or projector should be perpendicular. And you want to really cut down glare, because there are students who have low vision. So if you already have low vision and then there's less visibility because of glare, that's really not giving you equitable use. You can't see as well. So you might want to do that.
It's a little difficult, fine motor skill wise. That's again a lot what we look at in OT, to get in and really isolate your finger. People with hand issues, with weakened hands, with a hand injury, might have difficulty isolating your finger. To do that, it'd be a lot easier. You need manual dexterity to turn them. Turn them on and off. They're, not clearly marked too, so that could be an issue for someone with visual difficulties. Again, the markings too here are not always the best to see. Someone with visual deficits might have a problem with that.
And they have automatic ones, and they're not really expensive, so that could be a great solution. And you can, you go to the sensor soap dispenser, you go to the sensor sink. It's simple and intuitive. You don't have to use as much physical effort and sustained effort, and you can maintain your body in as neutral position as possible while you're washing your hands. It doesn't maximize legibility for the user. It really should be clear. This is hot, this is cold for someone who has low vision. That's not clear to them. But if you had a sensor, you wouldn't even need that, because it would just go on to be the perfect temperature for everyone, everywhere, and that would be the most universally designed.
And that's a quick, easy fix too.
That is.
Right now it's pretty cold, so that's good. But what if it's a day where it's going on and off and it's hot? So we also look at people that have kind of sensory issues, that might have difficulty determining hot and cold, and they have decreased, in their temperature sensors. So they may not know, they may not be able to gauge the temperature well, so they can bump into it with their leg or their arm, using it as their balance issues, getting out past the bar. They may even try to use this for balancing, and then you can encounter that.
And it should be covered. And now if you cover it, we already measured in here, we don't quite have a 5x5 radius. Because this is an older building, they have done to the greatest extent possible, and it does work. And people are able to manage it here with wheelchairs. There is enough space, but it's not the 5x5 radius. And it's really just the simple removal of this item definitely actually give us that 5x5 radius that we're looking for. In the men's bathroom, the heating element is actually on towards the ceiling, and this could be removed and put there as well in the future, so that you have that extra few inches. It doesn't seem like it means anything to someone like you or I, but it really means a lot to someone who's coming in here with a wheelchair and they're maneuvering, and they have to make those extra turns to accommodate for a radiator. You're using more physical effort. It's more difficult to maintain a neutral position. It would really cut down on a lot of that and conserve energy for someone who's using a wheelchair.
The one concern we would have in terms of barriers would be someone who's a little shorter with range of motion issues in their arm, reaching all the way up to this counter, not being able to reach up. They have limitations. Also, maybe in a wheelchair, there would be difficulty, because again, you're around this level and reaching up, to get to reach all the way up would be difficult for them. But,
it is a small kitchen, but you want to make size and space for approaching use accessible. And you want to make the reach of objects comfortable for everyone. And for someone who's in a seated position, having to reach up, if it's hot soup or whatever, that could really pose some safety issues. So that's another thing with provision for safety, for safety of your user. So changing a simple ledge, or if it's too small and they feel they can't do that, I would say make it recessed.
She was able to navigate it pretty well with the crutches. However, you might want to be a little careful because if they're using these tables, as a balancing aspect, they're not the best tables because they can tip over pretty easily. If you put your crutches aside and you're sitting down and using that to sort of balance, maybe something with a more solid base.
As a safety concern.
Yeah, it would be a good.
One of the other things we're talking about with the tables is that they're wobbly, and but they also don't accommodate various users' needs. This is just a typical chair. It's one size fits all. But there are tables out there that can accommodate all kinds of needs within the dining experience. You can have like a little ledge to write on your computer. It has wheels. The same table will have wheelchair access. We'll have a seat, a back seat. We'll have a bench, and so everyone, no matter what their needs, can use the table, no matter what their abilities. So it's actually identical in that case. So it is equitable and used to have a table like that.
Upon concluding, our team of experts came up with a full list of recommendations to make the college more universally designed. And with that, UD Design is out. Remember, what's good for you may not be the best fit for others.